everybody happy that I was out hanging out somewhere. Might be a show fire going on. I'll go with my phone. Give these two ladies a chance to get on. Good evening. We'd like to go ahead and call the Holbrook, Arizona City Council meeting to order at 6 p.m. on October 12, 2023. For roll call, we have Councilwoman Tafoya, Councilman Dixon, we have Vice Mayor Nilsson, and we have Councilman Black. We're supposed to have at least one, maybe two more joining us via phone soon, but I assume the music quits playing, right, when they're on, so I don't know if I need to turn it down a little bit.
Do you want me to move it over to
till they hop on?
till they come on?
So I can really,
Are you okay?
yeah.
It doesn't go down much,
So
unfortunately, but I can move it over to where.
as long as we're paying attention, so thank you. All right. Nope. Just in time. All right, who do we have joining us on the phone?
Karina.
So, is that Councilwoman Pat?
Here.
All right, thank you for joining us. All right, we just finished roll call. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilwoman Tafoya, and then we'll have a invocation by Pastor Hollingsworth from the St. John's Baptist Missionary Church. If you can please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Wise and loving Father, we come before your presence humbly asking that your will be done. We ask that our goals in this meeting be aligned with your will. Let our plans be orchestrated by you. Father, let your will be done in this meeting so that it can be a fruitful meeting, so that one seed may be planted and an orchard of positive growth happens. Whatever it is that you want to result from this meeting, Lord, we ask that you let it be. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. All right. Item number 4. We are going to make a quick change to the consent agenda. We will be removing the check register from off of the consent agenda. Moving forward, I've asked Manager Sullivan, for transparency, we'll add it still to the backup documents and then also to our website, but we don't need to approve it. And so that'll be removed moving forward. So with that, we will be just doing a consent agenda of the September 28, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at it. I will open the floor for a motion.
I have a motion that we approve the consent agenda. So to be clear, with the removal of the check register.
Correct.
That's included tonight. Okay.
Correct, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or concern about the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the September 28, 2023 meeting, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5, call to the public for non-agenda items.
We have 2 items.
All right, thank you. All right, first, as a reminder for those that are speaking, we ask that you introduce yourself, and then you will have 3 minutes to address the council. And Lisa will let you know when your 3 minutes is up. We will start with Lloyd Johnson. Come on up if you don't mind. Right there to the podium, sorry. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, I'm Lloyd Johnson. Just wanted to introduce myself. I'm running for state representative for Legislative District 6, biggest district in the state and most neglected. The main thing I'm proposing is trade schools. To too many people go looking for a job to say, I want a job. They need to be able to be educated properly so they can help build their own communities. I just want to provide the tools for the people. I think that's about it for now. All right.
All right, thank you very much. We
You're very
appreciate
welcome.
it. So. All right, next up, we will hear from Mark Romo.
Good evening, my name is Mark Romo. I got a couple things I want to talk about. The first thing I would like to discuss is, I was looking at my bill, my water bill, and on the water bill there's 2 line items that say one for capital improvement water, one for capital improvement sewer. Where's that money at? I haven't seen it in any city budgets. I'm not sure if that money's flowing into the general fund. I just don't know. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I'd like to know where that money's going. And then the second thing I'd like to talk about is the bid process for the city. So when the city does business with local businesses or businesses from other communities, are we adhering to a standard or a practice of the bid process? Or are we just giving it to our buddies? I'm just curious. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And as a reminder, we can't respond back to somebody addressing the public, but we can ask the administration to look into it and report back. Okay? So, which we will do. So, thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, item number 6, call to the public for agenda items. Thank you. All right, for an agenda item, you actually get 5 minutes, and we will have it here for Mark Romo. So.
Get him an exercise. Good evening again, Mark Romo. I just wanted to come on behalf of, there's a position or a spot that's open on the Charter Review Committee, and I believe tonight you guys are going to be voting on Peggy Reed. I wanted to come and voice my support for Peggy. She's just a lovely lady. She's very involved in her community. I know her and her family very well. And I hope that you guys will give her consideration and hope for your vote of yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. So that is all we have for number 6. Item number 7, new business. So we're going to start with the presentation from the Navajo County Health Department, and we're going to let the team introduce yourselves, and we'll give you the floor. And I believe you have a PowerPoint presentation, and we have some documentation that they had brought with us earlier. So everybody should have it in their folders here. And if you don't mind introducing yourself and Kathy, so that'd be great.
There we go.
Let me just get it.
Okay, while she's doing that,
Oh, there it is.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the Holbrook City Council, thank you first of all for having us. My name is Bill Ritchie. I work for Navajo County Health, and with me is Kathy Solomon, who is our nurse epidemiologist. She'll go ahead and talk a little bit here in a second. What I wanted to do was just first go through why we're here. We recently did a community health assessment and a community health improvement plan, the beginnings of that process. And throughout my part of the presentation, and Kathy's, we're going to refer to these things probably as the CHAW and the CHIP. So the CHAW is the assessment and the CHIP is the improvement plan. Again, you should have in front of you a copy of both reports. And first, before we get started, I wanted to thank both the members of the community here in Holbrook and the council. We got nothing but support from the council when we started this process. We started with the survey, we started meeting with different institutions in your city, and there was nothing but support. Kathy's gonna go through some numbers, but it was pretty impressive. I think the number was 316 surveys came back from just the city of Holbrook. And that information is vital to put together the assessment and ultimately the improvement plan. So Kathy's gonna go into that here in a little bit. So while we're here this evening, if we wanted to explain both these reports, you guys have a copy of each one of them. Lisa's got a copy of the reports also for the general public if anybody wants those. We also have this available online. It's on navajocounty.gov at the health department section. So if you want to look at it, what we're going to talk about this evening is a little bit brief compared to what's in the actual report. There's a lot more numbers and a lot more data in there. So with the reports themselves, the whole idea of these reports, the community health assessment, it basically identifies the needs, the barriers, and the issues that are currently in the community as it pertains to health and safety. So our goal is to basically address these issues as a problem or what is a problem, and then come up with a plan to try to fix it. Now keep in mind, what you're going to read in these documents and what you're going to hear this evening, a lot of this information is very negative. It's designed that way because these are the issues, these are the problems. So once we show what we have going on, that's how I think we can address it and maybe make some improvements. Again, there's a lot of good things going on in this community, so I don't see a reason that we're not going to make a change. We've already seen positive changes with just doing these presentations, with the input and with what the community wants to get involved in. So that's very enlightening. It's also positive in the sense that that's the right direction. Okay, so let's go to slide number 2 here. Okay, so this entire process, it's a very collaborative type effort. There is no way that Navajo County Health, with our staffing and our funding, can do this by ourselves. So about 6.5 years ago, the Navajo County Health Department looked at this. We did one about 6.5 years ago and realized that we need partners. On the screen there, these are our contributing partners. They're financially contributing to the programs, and they also have a position on the steering committee to kind of help us go the direction we're going to go. So us, Navajo County Health Services is at the top as the lead organization. We've got Summit Healthcare, Community Bridges, Arizona at Work, Little Colorado Medical Center, Change Point, and Care First. These are the institutions that are helping us on a formal level, but again, like I said, so many communities so far have asked to be part of this. The private sector, government, hospitals, things like that. So again, that's where we're going to go with this. Again, it's a financial thing. There's no way that we can do this ourselves, and not without the help and the expertise of these people do we get this done. So let's go to the next slide here. Now, I'm not going to go through this whole timeline here, and it's in the book there. I just want to hit on a couple of different, or a couple of points, and then Kathy's going to go into the data itself. We started planning this whole thing in September of 2022, and here we sit in October of 23, and we started presenting this to the cities, the towns, and the board of supervisors, and now we're coming up with a plan with the issues that we got and the information we got from the surveys. We've developed chairs and co-chairs. We're going to have a workshop for those people, and in January their boots are going to hit the ground, and hopefully we're going to address these issues that we talk about this evening. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Kathy, and she is going to dazzle you with a bunch of numbers.
I don't know how dazzling it'll be, but sure. You can have that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. All right. So on here you can see the reality versus perception, and what that just means is that the survey that we did, it was to get the attitudes, the perceptions, the healthcare experiences that individuals have had living in Navajo County, versus the reality, which is the secondary data that we will also bring into the community health assessment. That data will come from like ADHS, from the CDC, from other governmental resources and some colleges. So when we did our survey, we had 2,393 completed surveys, which is just about 2.2% of Navajo County population, which for this kind of a survey is actually pretty good, so we were happy with that. Also, keep in mind that our respondents, 42% of them were ages 50 to 69, and 73% of the respondents were female. So when I tell you the data that was collected through the survey, just keep in mind it's skewed toward the perception and experiences of more mature women. All right, so the data from the survey we split up into regions. We have the 3 tribal regions separated it, and then the North County and South County, those are split according to where the citizens usually seek out their healthcare services. And that's how we split those. It's not perfect, because we had to do it according to zip code, and as you can see, Winslow and Dilcon, they share a zip code. So they got put into North County because that's where the bulk of the population is. So there are 5 priorities that the steering committee came up with, and these are in no specific order. They are all problems. By the way, we did find good things in the survey too, but we want to work on the issues. So that's what we've got to be shown here. Oops, I went a little too far. Okay, so the social determinants of health, most of you probably know what these are, but these are things that impact your health, that are in the environment, what your education level is, where you grew up. Sometimes race, ethnicity is an issue, your access to food, good food, your access to healthcare, those kinds of things are all part of the social determinants of health. So in our survey, 27.5% of respondents stated that they spend more than half of their income on rent. 15.4% said they were worried about losing their current housing. 8.8% said they never had enough money for healthcare services. 33.9% said they sometimes didn't have enough money for healthcare services. 72.3% said they had to travel more than 40 miles to get healthcare services. And 38.9% said they went without needed healthcare services in the last year for various reasons. Most of that is lack of funding or lack of providers. The median household income in Navajo County in 2021 was $46,126, and comparing that to Arizona, which is $65,913, and the US is $70,784. So we're below both the state and the nation. 16.7% of our residents suffer from food insecurity, as opposed to just 10.1% for Arizona as a whole. 21.9% of our county households receive SNAP benefits or food stamps, is what that is. And Arizona is only 11%, so we're quite higher than the rest of the county is on that, or the state, excuse me. In the blue box, that is a point in time count of our homeless population, and that was performed in 2020. It's only 58. We know that that was probably wrong, well, for a lot of reasons, but mostly it's because it was done in the middle of winter, and a lot of our homeless population leaves during the winter. Also, it was done during a snowstorm. That's just when it landed, when they had people collecting it, and so a lot of the homeless individuals they weren't able to find them, period. So 58 is low. They are currently doing another point in time count for the homeless population. They are not finished with it, and so far they've got about 250 to 300 people. They haven't compiled everything yet, but that's about where they're at. The bottom on the left is the living wage. This is the living wage calculator that MIT does, and what that does is it takes like the basic things that an individual would need, what your taxes are, food costs, housing, child care, transportation, gas, those kinds of things, and they see what an individual living in a certain place needs to make in order to be considered making a living wage. And as you can see in Navajo County, if there is only one income being brought into the house and you've got 3 kids, you need to make $55.63 an hour. If you have 2 adults bringing in income into the family, they need to make $28.13 each. If you are a single adult with no children in Navajo County, you need to make $15.79. And the problem with that is that our Arizona minimum wage is only $13.85. So individuals who are only making minimum wage aren't quite making a living wage. Let's put it that way. However, in Arizona, for that same individual, they are $17.78. So we're a little bit better than the average in Arizona, but we could still use some help in the area of incomes that our individuals are bringing home to their families. The goal is to decrease the rate of homelessness by 5%. The percentages we're gonna use for these goals, they rank between 5 and 1%. That sounds very small, but most of these are having to do with very complex issues, behavior changes, and things like that. And when you work with that in a big size population, 5%, 1% is very realistic and would be considered moving the dial quite a bit. So even though it doesn't sound like we're doing a lot, we are. So the strategy, the first one is to identify and link resources that meet individuals' needs, increase the availability of housing options by partnering with local housing coalitions and agencies, and to decrease food insecurity by working with local coalitions to increase the number of people receiving assistance, such as food boxes, WIC, and food stamps and those kinds of things. And I can see I'm getting behind, so I'm going to speed up. I won't touch on all of the data. The second priority is the substance use. In Navajo County, in 2022, our opioid fatality rate was 27.8 per 100,000 individuals. Arizona was 26.5, so we're a little above Arizona. Our non-fatal overdoses was 47.3, Arizona was 46.8, again a little bit above. Our ER visits for suspected overdoses in Navajo County for the same time period is 509.9 per 100,000, and Arizona was 677.6. So we're a little lower than that. Part of that could be, and part of the reason why our opioid fatality rate isn't much higher, is because of naloxone being administered in 94.4% of the non-fatal overdoses in Navajo County. So the goal is to reduce the rate of drug-induced deaths by 5%. By increasing the number of people engaged in medications for opioid use disorder and medication-assisted treatment, increasing naloxone administration, identifying gaps in substance use services, and working with community members, local first responders, practitioners, and nonprofit organizations to better understand local opioid and substance use disorder and to address stigma and implement prevention measures. Our third priority is mental health. In our survey, 42.8% of the respondents stated that on an everyday basis they either experienced or were affected by anxiety or depression. That's almost half of our population, so that is an issue. Also, the number one social concern that individuals had in Navajo County on the survey was loneliness, and that was the same across all regions and across all age groups. One of the issues with that is in Arizona, we have one healthcare or mental health care provider per 1,314 individuals, and in Navajo County, we only have one healthcare provider for 2,806, which is double the rest of Arizona. And so we don't really have a lot of providers out there for the needs that we have. In our survey, the respondents, 9.7%, so just about 10% of our respondents stated that they had either attempted suicide or self-harm or were having thoughts about self-harming and suicide. We had 701 emergency facility visits in Navajo County in 2022 for attempted suicides or suicidal ideology. As you can see, our trend for suicides in Navajo County is the tan box. It was going down until we hit COVID, and then it went up. It seems to be trending a little bit down. Last year, we don't know what this year is doing yet. We're hoping to keep it a little better. But we need to work on this one a lot. And what we are going to try to do for the strategies is to increase mental health awareness through targeted outreach efforts and education, and to streamline coordination of mental health care, develop referral systems, and increase access to resources. And a lot of that, just because of the situations that we're in, is going to have to be telehealth. Our next priority is sexually transmitted infections. And this one was actually surprising because of the divergence between reality and the perception of individuals. Our individuals in the survey stated that 1.5% of their family members had ever had an STD, only 1.3% of themselves had, and only 0.5% of their children had. Whereas in reality, for all STDs, our rate per 100,000 individuals in 2022 was 990.1. And Arizona, all others, was 822.7. So we're quite a bit above what the average is. Also, it's an issue because when we break it down according to our age groups and our genders, the burden of our STIs are in women of childbearing age, and that's a big problem for our most vulnerable population, which is our babies. And when it comes to congenital syphilis rates, individuals who are past syphilis through the mother during pregnancy, to them, they can be stillborn, they can be born with long bone deformities, they can be deaf, they can be blind, they can be a combination of quite a few things. The rate for Navajo County is 886 per 100,000 of these congenital syphilis babies. In the US, it's only 57, and in Arizona, it's only 150. We are way above the normal. Also, in all 15 counties in Arizona, for STDs, we rank #1 for syphilis, so we're the highest county per rate. #2 in gonorrhea and congenital syphilis, and #3 in chlamydia. We have an issue with our STIs. And a lot of it is lack of understanding, a lot of it is lack of testing, and a lot of that is people just don't know. They don't know we have an issue because it's living in a conservative area. It's a little hard to get that kind of information out to the public. So the goal is to identify and to increase the identification and treatment of syphilis throughout the community, as evidenced by syphilis and congenital syphilis rates. These rates are actually done through disease surveillance, so it's a case by case, it is reality, it's not perception. Also, the strategies are to increase STI testing and treatment and lower the rates of congenital syphilis and increase education. Our 5th priority is chronic diseases or chronic conditions. In the survey, respondents stated that the #1 issue that they suffered with on a daily basis was obesity or being overweight, and that was again true in every region and every age group. The 2nd was heart disease, 3rd was chronic pain, 4th was diabetes, and 5th was autoimmune disease. And you can, well, most of you will know that obesity or being overweight also affects your heart disease, your chronic pain, your diabetes, and so forth. So we think if we can kind of get a handle more on that, it will help in the other areas as well. In Arizona, the obesity and overweight trend in 2021, individuals who are obese was just over 30% of Arizona population, and being overweight was just under 40%. So the goal is to reduce the rate of hospital admissions due to chronic diseases by 1%. Again, that doesn't sound big, but that's actually huge. Individuals can end up in the hospital month after month after month for the same issue. So the strategy is to increase the number of recreational facilities that meet the community's fitness needs, increase access to healthcare, and increase opportunities for health education. I'm sorry I spoke so fast, but I was trying to get everything out in our time limit. I'm going to turn it back to Bill.
Okay, so where do we go from here? This data that Kathy talked about, the input from the community, putting all this stuff together, this is what we came up with. We've released this now to the public. We've done the presentations to almost all the city council and town councils in Navajo County that have invited us or offered to have us come speak. Again, our next step, we're going to work with chairs and co-chairs for work groups in each one of these specific issues and try to come up with a plan. Launch initiatives that the public, we get out and we try to make some positive changes to some of these crazy numbers that are so off the charts compared to the rest of the country and the counties in Arizona. And finally, the evaluation and sustainability of this. The way we're looking at this is a living document. As we move forward after January, when we come up with initiatives and we start to introduce this to the public, we're going to see what works, what is received, and things that are not received or doesn't work, we're going to make changes as we move along. We're going to complete quarterly evaluations and we'll report back. And again, just to adjust as we need to with the issues and see what works in our communities throughout Navajo County. I've got, again, the reports available for the public if they want them. Also, Lisa's got my business card. We can break down numbers if you want to look at numbers further as it relates to your community specifically. Kathy can look at that and see if we can do that. Can't promise, but we can surely try to get you numbers or information that you may need. And again, if there's anything that we can do for your community as it relates to this, in the report, is each one of these problems has a specific project manager and/or group that works on this every day. So you'll see in the, I think it's in the community health assessment, it's in the back. Please reach out to us if you need something from us or something we can help you with. We will do just that. And with that said, we're gonna wrap it up. Does anybody have any questions for us?
I have a couple. So under the substance abuse part of what you covered, how many of those overdoses or hospital admissions involve children? And could you break that down by drug?
That information actually comes from the state's vital statistics data, and I can't break it down any farther than what they have broken it down, I'm sorry. They don't have children. Actually, there might be a website that may. If you would like, if I can get your information, I'll look that up and see if they do, and if they do, I'll get it to you.
Okay, so Navajo County doesn't track age groups?
No, this information comes from the hospital sending their information into the state through CMS. And so that's where they get those numbers from, and then the state goes through the vital statistics to put it up there. So this is secondary data, it's not primary data that we've gathered like the survey.
Okay, and then I think you broke some down between opioids and fentanyl. Do you have data for fentanyl?
I know there was a little.
They don't specifically have fentanyl, it's other dangerous non-narcotics. However, in the child, we might have fentanyl. I'm not sure about that one. That information actually came from DPS.
Okay, yeah, I saw the references there. My next question would be, how many would be involved with marijuana?
The marijuana, so as far as taking it, the only information we have is from the poll that they do of the youth in the high schools, and that is, that the state does for the youth. I know we have the information.
And when you say youth, what age group are you talking about?
High school age.
High school, okay.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to find out what the statistics are involving children, say junior high and younger, or younger than junior high, you're saying that the state would have those?
I don't know if they would have it that low. The problem with gathering primary data is it's very timely and it's very costly. So it depends on if they have gathered it. I know Navajo County doesn't have near the money to be able to do that. I don't know about the state. That's why we gather the secondary information that other people have already done.
Okay.
The state may, but most primary gathered data is by surveys or going out and doing interviews.
Okay.
All right, so there might be lots of questions, I mean, especially as people delve through this. So
Yes.
is the best way to go see the references, go see where you referenced it first, you know, to see what.
Yes, that would be an excellent way to do it. Each of those that we use, they do have a reference. Anything that says the China is primary information, that is our survey, and we can break that down further. Anything that does not say China would be secondary data.
And yeah, we do see on the back page, everybody's contact information for that,
Yes.
so. Yeah, cause I'm sure we could sit here for an hour and ask you all sorts of good questions that.
Well, it is, it's interesting and it's good data.
It
And
is
we do
very
have
good.
issues, so I do appreciate the interest.
So we appreciate that, so. Well, we appreciate both of you guys being here tonight and for all your hard work on this. It looks like this will be implemented over the next 6 years, is that kind of the timeline?
Yes, that is correct.
Fantastic. Anybody have any last minute questions for them?
Thank you.
All
Shows
right.
a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, so. Bill, thank you, and Kathy, thank you. And then, like you said, if the public has questions, it's on the Navajo County website and the health department.
Yes, ma'am,
They
and I've
can-
got my business
so-
card there if anybody wants it or needs it. Just reach out to me, I'll get you to the right person on our team, or I'll get you the information you need.
Fantastic.
All right?
Thank you very
you.
much. We appreciate that. All right. Good job. All right, moving on to item B under new business. is the planning and zone change for the Francis Morris 308 Hermosa Drive. So in our packets, we do have information there. This did go to the Planning and Zoning Committee. We've got our chairman, Mike Sample, with us today to answer any questions. If you want to let us know what the outcome was for the Planning and Zoning, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. So on September 21st, the Planning and Zoning Commission met to have a public hearing regarding the request for zoning change submitted by Ms. Frances Morris for the property at 308 Hermosa Drive. Her request was asking to do a zone change from C2 commercial property to RMH1, which is residential mobile home property. She would like to build a home there, and so that's why she's going through the proper processes. There is a residence there already. In the next lot, there's a mobile home. There's other residences just south of there, and across the street it is zone residential. So she's trying to just go through the proper processes to be able to build her home there. She already lives there on a home that's been there for years and years. She just wants to build a new one, but because it's zone commercial, she wants to go through the process of doing it correctly and asking for that zone change. So notices were sent out to all the neighboring neighbors, the 300 feet requirement, and at the public hearing, no one was present to oppose it or anything, so the board voted to recommend approval of that zone change. So we're here on that request.
Appreciate it. Any questions for Chairman Sample? All right, thank you very much. So with that, we will open the floor for a motion.
I move that we accept the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation.
I second it.
All right, any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion for approval and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. All right, item number C, appoint a new member to the Charter Review Committee due to the resignation of Stephen Carbonell. With the resignation, there was an opening to have the 7 seats. It is my recommendation to appoint Peggy Reed. A lot of people in the city already know Peggy and her husband for all their good work that they do in Holbrook. I can't think of a more exemplary citizen that goes out and just works hard for the citizens of Holbrook, and I know you would be a great representative for the voice. So with that, it is an appointment with the consent of the council. So I am requesting to appoint Peggy Reed to the Charter Review Committee. All those that consent say aye.
Well, I have a question about this.
Aye.
We have a question?
So what advertising was there that went out on this?
There was none. It's not required, so
No.
we've done it before. So,
Right, I think the last time we appointed the 7, the original 7, we did put it out to the public.
we did, twice. And the second time, we didn't get any other additional one. And I looked through the policies and procedures in the charter, and it's,
I did too.
so,
So, Peggy, I have known you for quite some time, and I don't have any issues with you. I just want to follow a process, the process that we have followed in the past. And again, that review committee that has been appointed thus far went to the public, and I'm just wondering why it didn't go out this time.
so. Your question for my answer is, the charter says the mayor can appoint. It doesn't give a lot of direction on it. And so I found somebody that was suitable, and there was no need to drag it back on for another couple of weeks with the potential of maybe nobody coming forward again. And regardless, you know, it's the mayor's right to appoint. And
I
so-
understand that. I understand that, Mayor. And so the next time that there's an opening, we're going to do the same thing, or we're going to change the practice at that time. Once we set precedent, we should stay with the precedent.
We will take it by a step, you know.
Okay. So next time it could change.
Potentially, depending.
Okay.
I mean, we just did it with a second opening and we didn't need to do it. And so it's only been a few weeks since the last one. So with that, we had a request for an appointment. I heard multiple ayes. We'll say, is there any nays?
Nay.
1 nay. All right.
And I want to put a caveat on that. It's nothing against Peggy. I really like Peggy, but it's just the process that I disagree with.
All right, you can note that if you, into the notes. All right, congratulations, we're excited to have you as part of our Charter Review Committee. Thank you for your willingness to serve, so, thank you. All right, moving on to item D, resolution 23-13, change of the day of the council meetings. So this is something that's kind of been thrown out a few times. I've heard, a few people inquire about it. I'm gonna turn this item over to Mr. Sullivan, and then we'll have a discussion about it.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. There's been several comments from council and from staff trying to move the meetings from Thursdays to some other day besides Thursdays. We did not want to compete with the school district either on Tuesdays, so Wednesdays kind of fell in line. We're not really sold on if it needs to be whatever Wednesday it is in the month, first Wednesday, second Wednesday, or fourth Wednesday. We were just recommending a date to keep it simple. We have been on second and fourth Thursdays. We were second and fourth Tuesdays, so that's why we just put the fourth Wednesday on it. And I'm recommending to go down to one council meeting, be a longer council agenda, but then that would allow us to do strategic plan meetings, those kind of things at the other kind of month, or the other part of the meeting if we have one scheduled.
All right, thank you. So I know that there has been some concerns, there's a lot of school events. I know, I'm not sure where Councilwoman Pacheco stands on this, but I know like last council meeting, there was a school activity that prevented it. I don't know if Wednesday's better for her. I like the idea of moving it to a Wednesday. I like the idea of being able to, after a city council meeting, we can go and do any follow-up we need to on a business day the next day. I too like the idea of going down to once a month. Not saying that we're gonna get off the hook by any means, because we do have a general plan that we've got to get done. After that, followed by a strategic plan in January, right around the corner, and that's when our budget talks need to start. And so we'll need to be able to allot some time for that. And so, go ahead.
So I just had a question. So if we move it one day, will we get another day to prepare, if we don't get the packets till Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, so we'll have to we'll try to move we will move all those up a day.
Okay, so we'll get it instead of Monday, we'll get it the Friday of the week before.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my concern.
And my other concern, I would like, if we do decide to move it to once a month, I would like to move it to the second meeting of the month and not the fourth. I like it at the beginning of the month. For me, it just sounds better. And then that fourth Wednesday, I would like to see that as our special work sessions. Councilwoman Tafoya, did you have a comment?
On here it says changing to Wednesdays to make it more efficient for staff to meet deadlines. What is moving it to a Wednesday from a Thursday
Well,
gonna help with their deadlines?
after the meetings, we have to post, the clerk has to post everything. And then, so she has to stay late to make sure that happens.
I have to stay after the meeting to post, like if there's a resolution or an ordinance, it has to be put in the paper, and their deadline's at noon on Friday, so I have to get it done after the meeting that night. Also, the statement of legal action has to be posted within 72 hours, and so I have to get it done that night.
And Friday's your day off, right? And so
And
this
then,
would give
yeah,
you the following day to
if
get all
there's-
that.
a lot of people call and say, why isn't the video up yet? Well, we don't get it posted till the following Monday because the meeting's on Thursday, and Pat's the one who does that one, and so he doesn't.
And same thing, so if anything comes up in the meeting during the manager's report or the council's report that needs to be addressed, a lot of times those aren't being addressed until the following week. And this would allow us to be able to address those the following day.
Did that answer your question?
Yes.
All right,
Yes, I have
Councilman Dixon?
questions. So, for staff to meet deadlines, and it says minutes, newspaper, video postings, and I think, Lisa, you explained that. As far as the newspaper is concerned, what do we why are we concerned about that when we post things onto the website and other places?
What is meant by newspaper is that when an ordinance, if you guys pass an ordinance, it has to be published in the legals in the newspaper afterwards. So in order to get it in the next edition, it'd have to be posted. I have to send it to the newspaper that evening. If I waited till Monday, it would be another week before it'd be in the paper, so it would stall the ordinance from becoming effective if it didn't get done that evening. Does that make sense?
So, sure, so what is the deadline or the cutoff for the
Newspaper.
the White Mountain Independent?
I don't put it in the White Mountain Independent. I don't know what their cutoff is. We do it in the local newspaper here.
Yeah.
So, and their cutoff is noon on Friday.
Okay. You may want to check into the Independent and list things there.
Okay.
I mean, they are a local paper as well.
But they don't service Holbrook.
You know, they do.
I don't think I've ever read the White Mountain Independent, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think to look in that newspaper.
I think that would
But
be
it-
completely inappropriate to, to list in the White Mountain, but go ahead.
I don't think that would be inappropriate.
You've
It's
got
a
work in there.
newspaper. It's a newspaper
I agree.
with circulation. And I, personally, Wednesdays would work better for me, but I can't make any decisions that are just beneficial for me personally, okay, as far as my work schedule and everything. Because sometimes I come in here on a Thursday smelling like egg rolls and some other food. But as long as we get the agenda by Friday, and that would probably back up your cutoff to Wednesday.
Yeah, so at that point, we'd be probably posting it by end of business on Thursday. We'd get it to the attorney, the couple days before then.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Because on this particular agenda that we're doing tonight, we didn't get it it wasn't posted till yesterday.
It was posted legally where everything else we needed to, it just wasn't on our website.
Right. Well, it wasn't on the website until this morning.
Right.
We didn't get notice until, I think, yesterday. Or was the day before?
I don't know, I'll have to look at
It's
the
yesterday.
I went to send it, and it's my issue. It was in the draft. I didn't push the send button. I got interrupted. I thought I had sent it, so at 7:03 this morning,
Okay.
I pushed the send button. I apologize for that.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Mistakes happen.
I did have it ready to go and in the inbox.
Okay.
Just the phone rang or somebody came in. And,
Well, that is a challenge when you
And
have
I
a city clerk
apologize
that's
for that.
running front
Sure.
desk as
because
well.
yeah, I'm not only
so.
doing the city clerk. I'm sitting at the counter all day, helping
Probably hired
customers and
someone
answering
for that.
phone calls.
She's being trained still, and so.
Is she being trained for
She's
the
being
front
trained.
desk person?
No, well,
Well,
yes,
she's trained for everything.
everything. Yeah.
Mobile, so.
Okay.
All right,
I
so
just-
just stay on topic here though,
Yes.
so the topic is at hand is, are we interested in changing it to a Wednesday, and are we interested in changing it to once a month? To open up that second meeting to work sessions?
Right,
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you
know.
wanted it on the early Wednesday.
Correct,
the
and so
second.
my recommendation would be that second Wednesday of each month, and then that fourth Wednesday of each month, we would leave open for work sessions when needed, and we're gonna need them for a while.
So still this second Wednesday,
So the
So
second
the
Wednesday
second
would be the
week.
regular
regular
council meeting.
city council meeting.
And then
The
the fourth.
fourth one would be work sessions.
Correct, that would be my recommendation, so. We'll have a discussion, then we'll open up to a motion. Councilwoman Pack, are you still with us?
Yeah, I like that idea. I think it would just make things a little bit more efficient, and especially if we can have those work sessions.
Right, and how do you feel about moving from a Thursday to a Wednesday?
Well, I like it, personally I like it, but I mean, because all the activities, like kids' activities and with the school and everything is on Thursday, but again, it's not about, me, right? So, but I don't see it harming being Wednesday versus Thursday, and also if Lisa needs that extra time, then it's a win-win.
All right, thank you, so. Councilman Black, did you wanna weigh in?
I do, what I don't like about it is it says So we're gonna have one council meeting a month, and the other one's gonna be a work session. It looks like it's a almost mandatory work session. I don't like doing that.
No, it says as needed.
Okay, so if you don't need it, does that mean you don't have a council meeting?
Correct.
That's what I'm getting
And
at.
if,
with that.
and if there's a
We'd be going to
need,
once a month.
then we can always call a special meeting.
Right.
I don't know if I'm the only one thinking this, but when I look at where we are in Holbrook right now, I still think we need 2 council meetings a month. I think we need to get moving here with some agenda items, some plans for Holbrook. So I don't like the idea of moving it to, I don't care about the Wednesday, Thursday thing, but I do care about council meetings when Holbrook has a long way to go, and we need to help it go that direction.
All right, thank you. And I agree, there's a lot to do, but I do feel like we need to have some real discussions sitting at a table where we're gonna have that time. For me personally, I don't wanna sit through an hour, hour and a half city council meeting, and then have to sit through another hour or 2, and they're gonna be long strategic meetings, in my
Well,
opinion.
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is, we have the opportunity now that we know if the next council meeting, if we want to change that right now, we can say, hey, next council meeting will be a work session. It will not be a council meeting. You see what I mean? That way it won't be a mandatory, oh, well, we're not going to have it, so no council meeting at all.
Well, I think a work session is a council meeting, if I understand it correctly. And we still have to have a quorum to have those work sessions.
Correct.
So whether it's mandatory or not, I mean, if you can make it, you need to make it. And I understand absences, I've had absences before, but it's still a council meeting.
But what I'm saying on it is, if people say, well, we're not going to do that because we don't have a work session that week, so then there's no council meeting either.
Correct.
I don't like that.
We're only required to have one per month.
I understand that, but
And we do have November and December coming up. Those are gonna be a conflict right away. November, our 4th Thursday, anyways, is gonna land right on Thanksgiving, and then the December one's gonna land right in between Christmas and New Year's. So already, we're gonna be making changes. So as a council, we've gotta be adaptable. And I think we can, as the week before, to Councilman Black's, comments, we can say, hey, there's still gonna be some issues. We can call a special meeting and make it shorter. That way we don't have to go through the call to the audiences and the presentations and things like that sometimes extend it. If there's still work to be done, we can call that special work session or that special council meeting, have it done, and then we can go right into a work session. Because honestly, our budget talks, I think this next year is going to be a lot longer. We start, January is when you typically like to start?
We'll start in January.
And that's 3 months away, amazing enough. So, but we appreciate your comments. So yes, Councilman Dixon.
And Robert, I understand your concern. I kind of believe that how you're talking. So during these times that we need to get stuff done, then we'll have those work sessions. And if we get all those things accomplished, then we can back off and do just the one meeting a month. There are some times where we had quite a few things on the agenda today. But there are some times where we only have 1 or 2 things. Are those 1 or 2 things something that we can put off until the next council meeting, as long as we have our other work done? See what I'm saying?
I do, but my point is this, and sometimes we only have 1 or 2 things on the agenda. Why? I think as council members and wanting Holbrook to go the direction we would like it to go, I think council members need to be putting things on the agenda. Instead of 1 or 2 items, I mean, all of us are sitting up here and we all have a different eyes on Holbrook. So I would like to see more council members getting involved and getting things put on the agenda and head a direction that we need to head. So I don't like 1 or 2 things on the agenda. I would like to see 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 things on the agenda. And they're out there. We just need to find them.
All right, thank you. All right, any other discussion before we open the floor to motion?
So we have actually 2 parts of this.
Correct.
So one going to Wednesday, from Thursday to Wednesday. The other is to do the once a month plus the as-needed work sessions. Do we want to vote on the whole thing,
Well,
both issues now?
and that's a
or-
good question, and there's also a resolution which I do need to read. And so, but with that reading of that resolution, especially if we change it, which I'm gonna be recommending, whether that motion passes or not. So, well, what do you suggest, Lisa? Do you have any recommendations? Do we need to separate into the two?
I feel that it would be better to do it as two
Two separate.
motions, because it is two separate.
Would that be two separate resolutions then?
No, we'll
No.
be just, the
vote
only
then.
reason why you'd be doing two separate is that way somebody can make a motion, and then you guys can agree on that. And then when you say that, it's gonna be as noted, we pass that resolution as
With
those
those changes?
noted
Okay.
recommendations.
Okay, with that, let me go ahead and read the resolution as written, and then when we make motions, we can make any changes throughout the motion.
Can I, on the resolution, it
Yes.
says fourth Wednesday, and you wanna make that the second
And we'll make, so I'll read
Wednesday.
it as is, but then with the motion, we'll make that correction.
Second, okay.
So, resolution 23-13, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Holbrook City, Navajo County, Arizona, changing the day of the council meetings. Whereas the mayor and council may change the council meeting days from time to time, and whereas it has been determined that changing the meeting date to Wednesday will increase efficiency, and whereas the mayor and council desire to operate city government in the most efficient manner. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and the council of the city of Holbrook, Arizona. Section 1, regular meetings of the city council will be held on the fourth Wednesday of each month. Section 2, the mayor is authorized to execute the resolution. Section 3, the interim city manager is authorized to take all necessary action to carry out this resolution. So with that, let's go ahead and start with a motion in regards to changing the date, just from a Thursday to a Wednesday. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to change it to the second Wednesday of the month.
That's doing both.
It works.
But it worked.
Well,
She
I-
made the motion, so.
That's what the
I think what we have at hand
that
is
works
to
with the
approve-
resolution.
Yeah,
To
Yeah, for the
approve the resolution.
the second Wednesday
okay.
instead of the fourth.
So we have a resolution to change from the, we've repeated, I'm sorry.
To approve the resolution to say the second Wednesday of each month,
All right, do I hear a,
Under section 1,
section 1.
instead of fourth Wednesday, second
Second.
Wednesday.
correct, so. All right, so we have a motion, do I hear a second? We have a second.
Who seconded?
Vice Mayor Nelson. All right, we'll open it up to discussion.
I'm not sure we're doing this
I
correctly.
know, he said we're
I think we need to do the resolution in its entirety, or either vote for it or against it.
Entirety, including
I think
having
we can
with
make
the
it
work
work.
session on the fourth.
We can,
Is that what you're saying?
I think you can do it, just like you said. So we're still doing it in the entirety with that correction, with that change on section 1. And as stated in the motion, just like that. I believe that should work.
Okay,
Okay,
so the correction on section 1.
all right.
Okay.
So the motion is to approve resolution 23-13 with changing section 1 to read regular meeting of the city council will be held on the second Wednesday of each month. Is that correct? All right, and with that second, that's what you approved. All right. So we're not, that's why we changed it. So we need a roll call vote for each of these then?
Yeah.
So, all right, that, we'll turn it over to Lisa Hunt.
Okay, Councilmember Black?
So this is just changing the day from Thursday to Wednesday.
Yes.
To the second.
Correct.
Correct.
Well, it's actually, it's changing the date to once a month too. That's in the resolution.
I
Oh,
don't,
it does say for the second Wednesday.
nay.
Nay, okay. Councilmember Dixon?
Aye.
Or Vice Mayor Nielsen? Councilmember Pack?
Yes,
Councilmember Tafoya?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye. All right, motion passes. So, And the nice thing with resolutions, if we find that there's a need, we're like, no, wait, we're getting inundated, you know, there's longer meetings than we thought, we're not getting it. The nice thing with resolutions, we can come back in a couple of months and modify it and create a new one. So this is not, we're stuck forever with it, so. All right, thank you everybody for that. All right, moving on to item 7E, then discussion possible action scheduling a planning work session regarding the city manager appointment recruitment firms. So as we talked about at the last council meeting, that to move on with the appointment of a permanent manager, that we need as a council to find out what our priorities are and to create those work sessions. My recommendation is to see if we can find a facilitator that can help us. So during this discussion, I would like us to pick a date and time that we can do it. And at this point, we can actually do it on the 4th Wednesday of this month, if we could find somebody. But I'd like to get some input about how people feel about a facilitator, or is it something we feel like we want to try to do ourselves to get the ball rolling. My recommendation, there are some recommendations from the league, and I know from other cities that I've talked to. You know, a lot of times, quite a few years ago, I know there was, during the strategic planning, they had a facilitator come in. I would recommend somebody maybe outside of Holbrook to come facilitate it.
Our county attorney volunteered to at one time, right?
Okay.
When he talked to us before.
Oh, Brad?
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting, so.
Or any of his attorneys as well.
So, and there's a lady out of Flagstaff that the league had recommended. She actually does this for a living. So I don't know if she has a charge. So I don't know if we're willing to put some money into it, or see if we can find somebody that's willing to volunteer, at least for the first time around. If we're asking somebody to do it multiple times, I feel like they should be compensated. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know.
Well,
Do you know if Brad volunteered?
no, remember in those discussions where he said that he'd be willing to help us through this process?
Was that Brad? Brad
County
Carlin?
attorney on the phone.
Oh, our attorney.
Our
city
attorney.
Our city
Oh, I'm
attorney.
sorry,
Oh,
not the
yeah.
county, the
Oh,
city
yes,
attorney.
thank you for that.
I'm
clarity.
sorry.
I was a little confused there too.
Yeah,
So.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
our city attorney.
Okay.
So, well, I would like for somebody for a work session though, somebody that understands the facilitation of starting to figure out strategic planning more than just the management firm at this point. We can involve the manager when it comes to the hiring, but at this point, we just need to get what is our priorities as a council. That way we know what type of permanent manager we're looking for.
And somebody
So-
who could be here in person.
Correct. So
And
that's what.
So you said there was somebody in Flagstaff, the
Yeah.
city?
And I can't remember her last
So-
name. And I don't. I guess maybe I won't throw out any names because I haven't spoken to anybody, so I won't do
So
that.
how many resources did the league say besides
Yeah.
the person in Flagstaff?
They'd given me 2 names to help on when I had reached out to them on helping us with the general plan. They had given us 2 names. But I don't know if there's a cost. I know one of them they actually do a firm, so I don't know if they would do like an introductory kind of a work session, kind of give us an idea of what we need to look for in a facilitator.
Well, if we have a facilitator come in, we could talk to that person and find out what their recommendations are as far as how many sessions we need.
Yeah, I agree. I like that idea. Because at this point, it could be 2, it could be 10, right? So, but with an efficient person, I think we get it done quickly.
Sure.
So, and I'm all about moving on quickly. Did you have it looked like you were ready to say something?
I think we need to have some work sessions on what our vision of Holbrook is and our strategic plan before we decide what kind of
That's what they do.
manager thing. So that's, I think those need to be our first
Yeah.
important work sessions that we start having to work on.
That's
that,
what the
because it's
facilitator
been
does.
I
so-
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a comment?
Well, I have a great deal of confidence in the league. And I don't know very much about this, and so I would go with the recommendation, I would think. If they recommended somebody from Flagstaff, that's probably the closest.
Now they're gonna facilitate what? The manager hiring? or
No,
what?
No.
The facility, like some strategic planning.
Right,
So,
Right.
yeah.
What we want to see in a city
Right.
manager.
I think we have to get that done before we can even
Sure.
move on to the other process.
Of course.
So can we are you guys comfortable with us directing the administration to reach out to the league, get those names, and reach out to them to see if they'd be willing to come in
Yes.
and facilitate?
Yes.
See if we can get them in by the second week. I don't know if they can do it that quickly. It'd be nice if our schedules are already open. I mean, technically it'd be the Wednesday, which would be
Yeah, the 25th.
the 25th.
This month.
So if you don't mind seeing if that person could do it on the 25th, so. All right, so I don't, sorry, Councilwoman Pack, did you have any comments on this discussion?
So the facilitator would just kind of help direct our work session, and I'm trying to hear and decipher between.
Yes. No, that's exactly it. They would help just kind of direct us in a strategic visioning session. Is that for lack of a better word?
For the manager.
For the manager. So, but for one, for as a council, as we understand what our priorities are for the city, we want to make sure as we're, in the majority of like, are we going to be concentrated on public work? Are we going to be concentrating on finance? Are we going to be concentrating on recreation? And so they'll help us kind of see where we're all at. I honestly do believe this, that most of us are going to agree with 85% of all the issues out there. And then, but it'll be nice to have somebody else facilitate it for us.
Yeah,
So.
one of the things that a facilitator does is give us each a questionnaire on what we want to see, and so that way we can put those things in writing, and then they analyze that, and then we do the planning meeting. But Mike, I thought you were part of that the last time.
Was.
Yeah, it's been a while though.
We still had hair.
So if, let's say that
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
excuse me,
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Pack. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
if they contact the facilitator and she can't do it the 25th, could she do it that first meeting in November? Or does that have to be our regular council meeting?
No, we can still do a
At
work
that point,
session.
we could schedule a special work session, which whenever facilitator can make it, we'll make sure everybody else can make it.
But then that would make it so we wouldn't have.
Well, we can still have our regular meeting, and then we'll just
And
follow
just
behind,
follow
right
up
behind
with
it.
that.
Yeah.
Correct.
Hopefully just make it,
Okay.
efficient, so. Okay, so if that's okay, I don't believe we need a vote on that, unless anybody feels like we need a vote on it. So we will go ahead and then direct administration to reach out to the league and get us a facilitator and a date as soon as
Thank you, Mayor
possible, so.
Council.
Thank you for that. All right, moving on to item number 8, summary of current events. I'll go ahead and start. Just a couple of quick things. Mr. Sullivan and I were able to meet with Ramsey, and I forgot her name already. Was it Wharton, I believe, with the Arizona Commerce Authority, and she worked with the film industry. And they have a program through the Arizona Commerce Authority that can help a city become film ready. And it helps you kind of get your permitting ready. So if a production company wants to come in, we've got resources for them. We've got a contact person that can reach out to property owners that are open to having them being filmed, any permitting taken care of. And so I'm excited. Just this week, I saw Studio 66 had a film crew up there. And so there's great potential. And like I said, some of these film crews will come in and they'll stay for weeks on end, and they're staying here, and it's good for Holbrook. And then we get some little credit at the end of a movie. So that'll be something exciting to watch with them and see what if we can get Holbrook film ready. That's just one more item that we can do to help with our economy here. So I did see tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. at Hewlett School, the Fishers of Men for Veterans. It's an outreach organization. So this outreach is dedicated to helping veterans who have fallen on hard times. So they'll have plenty of resources there to help out. The resources are listed in this little picture here, which they had service providers, food service, North Country Health Service. Anyway, so it's for our veterans. It is at Hewlett tomorrow morning, so Friday morning, October 13th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you know a vet, please pass that on. And then after our discussion with the library last week, I was actually talking to a mom this morning, and She was talking, she's only lived in town a couple of years, but she loves the library. She said they have that Lego League, and I didn't know. So I thought, oh, I'll look up their calendar, but they've got strength training, Lego Leagues, they've got crafting for adults only, chair yoga, tells her time. Anyways, go to the library website. They really do offer a lot of recreational activities for our youth and even for our adults. So I appreciate the library and all that they do. Also, I think I mentioned before, but you can check out pickleball equipment, and you can borrow it up to a week from the library. And so Councilwoman Tafoya said she will challenge anybody that goes and does it. Sorry, okay, maybe I made that up.
I will, actually.
So, all right, with that, we will turn the time over to Councilman Dixon.
So you stole my thunder about the veterans thing tomorrow. I would recommend all the veterans in the community and even outside the community go to that. And then the other thing is I attended the Bread of Life banquet last Saturday, and that was always well attended and a very good and worthwhile thing. The Bread of Life mission does a great work. We talked about the health department talked about the homelessness in Navajo County, and the Bread of Life mission addresses that. And they don't just address, giving somebody a warm bed to sleep in on a night. They try to integrate them back into society, and they do it in a spiritual way too. I mean, they do a good job, and I know the people up there, and they're good for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Tafoya.
I really don't have anything. I missed all the festivities that happened this weekend because I was at the happiest place on earth, supposedly. But
Winslow?
yeah, that would probably been happier than yours.
They're going to quote you on that.
So I don't have anything.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor Nelson.
I concur with Mr. Dixon that Sharice Myers and her group do a tremendous job and it was a great fundraiser. Today was, and going on with the library is sponsoring an eclipse event, 9:30 in the morning on Saturday. Now, what a lot of people don't know is the Ring of Fire will be about 89% full as it passes over Holbrook. They have glasses for every member of your family. Please attend it with your children and grandchildren. It's the next one that'll come over with this much coverage will be like in 2035. Anyway, today at the Senior Center was our first ever Bingo Palooza, where we participated with every other senior center in Arizona. Played bingo, we had one winner. It was something that we'd like to continue and do often. And there's no money that changes, it's just prizes like coolers and little bags and things. On October 19th, we're having a health fair at the Senior Center from 10 until 2. There's going to be 14 tables, of which the county health department is going to staff 3 of those tables. There's going to be giveaways. There's going to be testing for, there's going to be flu shots and testing for different diseases that the county's worried about, and waste. There's going to be people talk about health insurance and different things. It'll be a tremendous thing from 10 until 2, and refreshments will be served. And also on November 4th, there's a bingo at the Senior Center and a raffle that's going to pay for the boxes that the food bank gives out. We spend about $10,000 a year in food boxes to help people at Christmas time, beyond what we give every week to people so that they can have a turkey or a ham and different things. And
What time is
okay, it starts at 6, and the bingo cards, you'll get 10 cards for $10. And there will be a raffle. Bill Jeffers will also hold a small auction. Yesterday we got a football, an autographed football from the Arizona Cardinals. there's other wonderful prizes like Arizona Car Pass and Verde Valley Railroad, different things.
Is this like you did last year?
Yes, same
It was a
kind
lot
of
of
format.
fun.
Yeah. And I would like to thank the county, I mean, the city, come on, I can't get the county out of my mind. The city for striping 8th Avenue. I think it makes it safer, and I know that people slow down and try and stay within their lane.
You have to. That's so narrow right down that corner,
Right.
you have to stand.
Right, thank goodness though, but because people were crossing over, so thank you. And I think that's all I had, thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Black?
I just want to give accolades to the city. I like to see what's being done. There's a lot being done, and it's being appreciated by a lot of people. It's shaping up. I know it's not easy, but in just the last little bit, there's a ton of work that's been done, and the Holbrook people appreciate it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pack, are you still with us?
Yeah, it was great to see that stripe, like Councilman Nielsen said. And the cemetery wall looks great.
Yes,
So,
it does.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Oh, sorry, thank you very much. So, all right, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Public. I have a letter I'm gonna read, and it's for PJ Gabaldon at the police department. She got recognition, and I was gonna do this last council meeting, and I forgot. So instead of butchering it, she got an award, and I'm just gonna read the letter that she got. So, or it's a thank you, because she's got approved for this. So, the Arizona Department of Public Safety Access Integrity Unit is pleased to inform you that the Holbrook Police Department has successfully certified as an Arizona Incident-Based Reporting System Contributing Agency. In accordance with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Arizona Uniform Crime Reporting Program, your agency has demonstrated its ability to submit complete, accurate, and quality crime data based on established criteria set forth in the state and federal programs. Thank you for assisting the state of Arizona in providing enhanced crime data for our citizens and the nation. It sounds like she's been working on that recognition for some time. It's not something you can just willy-nilly get the data into those databases. You got to be organized, and I wanted to give her and Chief accolades for that. So it's a pretty good recognition for our police department. We have started some sidewalk projects. One we just finished is on Arizona and 6th. There's going to be a little bit more done on that. We started 8th Avenue sidewalk redoing that drainage. Had a little hiccup today, but we'll get going back on that. We are helping the animal control also remodel the back room, new paint. There's a couple holes in the brick walls and stuff. We've patched those up. We're putting in new exhaust fans in the cat room, redoing the roof on the cat room. Hopefully that will be done next week. So we've started that. Cemetery gates have been painted now, so now they're black. And that's it with the recognition. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, item number 9, submission of written petition for items not on the agenda.
There are none.
There are none. Item number 10, adjournment. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. So, thank you for joining us, Councilwoman Pat.
Yep, thank you.
Have a good night.
Congratulations, Peggy.
Yeah.
Sugar She's one of those people that works.
Traja.
Doesn't need any recognition.
So those
She
are the-
just keeps working.
And you said you were posting. Yes. I wrote down some of them.
You know, I've been taking out that one. Dollars involved in.
So that's starting the next council meeting.
Remind everybody.
I know, we'll send out a little reminders.
Right, right.
So for the resolution.
We'll see if we can get that work session going.
I'm gonna,
I showed up on
change that. And then I'll have this on.
Okay, perfect, yeah. That was it? One signature?
Well,
Good job.
I know. Thank you, thank you.
Nice having you.
Yeah, all right, well, thank you very much, so.
That's right. The Reagan